I went to therapy so I could learn how to traumatize and manipulate men, and I want to share with you 5 strategies.
The frick? At the end of the video, she kind of counters that piece of it, but it's still what the heck. And this video is not sponsored in any way, but I'm noticing a trend among toxic women. They're actually reading books, especially like Robert Greene. I love his books. He's a great author. Like, they're amazing books and they're super accurate. But I'm noticing a lot of toxic women out there are actually reading these books and they're using those manipulation tactics that they learn in the books against the men that they date. I mean, this one's the power one and the laws of human nature, but there's also like something about seduction. That's the one I see a lot of these toxic women reading. So you might want to pick that up and read it if you're into reading, because that might help you not get tricked or manipulated by women like this. And I've also been reading these books so I can relay the information to you.
Number 1 is fake accountability. You should never not apologize to him, but you want to apologize to him without actually apologizing to him. For example, I'm sorry you feel that way. I hate that you interpreted it like that. Number 2 is breadcrumbing. Give him the smallest amount of attention required to keep him emotionally invested. For example, after spending the entire day ignoring him, send him a late night text that says, "Thinking of you." It's like feeding a stray cat, but emotionally. Give him just enough to keep him coming back.
What I find interesting, kind of a spoiler, but at the end of the video, she says something along the lines of, "This is what men do." So she flips the whole video on manipulation tactics into, oh, men do this. But what I find funny is women also do these things as well, and a lot of men have experienced this firsthand. For a lot of women, they will do something, they'll say something, he reacts to what she did or said. And then she focuses on his reaction, and now she's the victim. And I've seen this play out. It's like not necessarily gender specific, but I have seen a lot of toxic women do this specifically. But it's actually kind of baffling because your reaction becomes the problem instead of what they did initially to cause you to react that way. And it kind of becomes this free pass. If you think about it, there's almost tons of situations where realistically, if you want to freak out over their reaction, you can then play victim. And I don't advise don't do this. Like, you'll make everyone lose respect for you. Also, she references the, "I'm sorry you feel that way." I've heard women say that a lot. That's not accountability. Sometimes people hear the sorry part and they're like, "Oh, they apologize." But it's like, that you feel that way. Your emotions are they blame you anyways. Sorry you reacted that way. Sorry you interpreted it that way. An actual apology would be more along the lines of, "I shouldn't have said that to you. I'm sorry for saying that. I was wrong to speak to you that way." Next, for a lot of women, instead of actually apologizing and taking accountability, they'll instead explain why they did the thing. She might have thrown a lamp at your head and, oh, that's a horrible example. But, oh, I was just tired. My coworker was rude to me. I had a long day. No, that's unacceptable. It's okay to say something like, "I was stressed, but it didn't give me the right to take it out on you." That would be more appropriate of an apology. Next, they add "but." A good example would be, "I'm sorry I yelled, but you were being annoying." See how it totally cancels out the apology and makes it your fault again? Next, they might minimize what happened. You bring up something, and maybe this is like the first time you bring up anything, because I know with my experience with a lot of men, you guys don't bring up things just randomly for funsies. It's usually something that really deeply affected you. And she might be like, "Oh, it's not that big of a deal. That was a little thing. That was a while ago." And people like that, they don't want to take accountability, so they don't sit in the damage. Because that's part of repairing with somebody is it's uncomfortable. It's annoying. You're sitting there in the damage. You have to sit with what you did and not try to excuse it or deflect or minimize. Also, I've seen some women, they weaponize their tears. They'll start crying at the perfect moments to get leverage. Now, I'm not saying every woman that cries is automatically trying to manipulate you. A lot of us might just be emotional. Personally, I'm kind of a little bit emotional myself. I would never use it to manipulate somebody. It's just genuinely how I'm feeling in the moment. But again, that's something to watch out for if she only cries in very specific moments. And then also you might be painted as, well, this is in general manipulative people. You try to set a boundary and they treat you like you're a horrible person. And then you might, if you're not the type of person that normally sets boundaries, you might be sitting there second guessing yourself a little bit. And that's when you really need to consider, okay, is my boundary okay? And if it is, you need to just double down. And I also find it funny about the whole breadcrumbing thing because women literally do the same thing. That's the whole play hard to get, where you give just a little bit to get him all excited about you and then you pull back, or it's just like it happens. It's a man and woman thing that can happen.
3 is withholding validation. Never let him know where he stands. He can move mountains for you, and you respond with, "Aw." Keep him fighting for his life trying to earn your enthusiasm. Number 4 is boundary.
And for a lot of men, they've already caught on to this. If she's not reciprocating, or, you're fighting for really? It seems like there's some women out there who not only use men for money and free meals, but validation and emotional labor. So as a man, you got to consider that as well. You texting her, you reaching out to her, you complimenting her, that's also labor in itself. It's equivalent to money. It's equivalent to time. Sometimes I've talked to guys where they're like, well, I don't think she's using me because she doesn't ask anything of me. And then I find out it's like she put him in the friend zone and she constantly vents at him. That's you doing things for her. You sitting there listening to her vent fest for 6 hours, that's something. As you shouldn't have to walk on eggshells in a healthy relationship. Yes, sometimes you don't agree with each other. Yes, sometimes there's arguments. But for the most part, you should feel safe and comfortable in that relationship most of the time. And what I think is kind of funny, not haha, but like in general, is you see women play this weird push-pull game and they win the guy over. He's like chasing her and whatnot. But then the relationship falls apart because she cannot relax and just be herself in that relationship because she started that relationship on a lie, on a false foundation. And then she wonders why all of her relationships fall apart. I know of a few women who are just always single. They want to be married. They want to be in a long-term relationship, but then they play these weird games constantly. Also, one thing she brings up is selective memory. At that point, what? You just want to be seen as a liar? I feel like honesty is just becoming this trait in people that is just so valuable because it's so rare to find someone who is consistently honest. And to be fair, we all make small lies here and there. It's sometimes it's subconscious, or we might remember things differently from one person to the other. But there's so many people out there who are just flat out dishonest constantly. And so if you can be honest in a relationship, that's like gonna be the best thing ever. And I feel like long-term with dating, that's gonna be one of the most valued traits you can have. So for these type of manipulation videos to encourage dishonesty or selective memory, I feel like a lot of men have caught on to this as well, and rightfully so. I just don't see how you could realistically have a healthy relationship if you can't fully trust the other person. I mean, if you're married or even in a long-term relationship, that other person might know your social security number. They may know your driver's license number. They may have access to those documents because you're living in the same household. You might have the same bank account. You might have everything together and combined. You might combine your paychecks and then pay bills together. So trust is absolutely essential if they're having your most important documents. So to act like being non-trustworthy is just whatever is not okay. And for any woman that thinks that she's going to have a long-term relationship and a healthy and happy one by listening to advice like this, you are massively mistaken. Also, you cannot expect your partner to be trustworthy if you're not trustworthy yourself. I mean, just common sense.